All right, so as we come back together, obviously as adult writers, you didn't need to practice the skill, the grammar guideline of using commas in a series correctly, but it's always nice to just have that example and that model for you as you head back out of the session and think about what this would mean for you. Here is the planning guide that we created. It might be too much for you, but this is going to be right in your Google folder, in the For Everyone folder. Invitation to Notice planning guide. And then because people were making these like one a week to provide layers of grammatical concepts after they'd been taught through the grammar calendar. That's usually where, at least in our district, they went to first. They thought, let's just provide some practice after we've taught it explicitly. You could do the flip. You could give a little front loading. Yeah, it's an invitation to notice. It's that inquiry, that apprenticeship model. So you could. You might not do a lot of teaching. You're just having them practice something before they know exactly what it is. But, just for the week of, and that could come out grade level. Common Core State Standard could be referenced. The mentor sentence just put right here. So with Jeff's, it would have been that the deputy had me, and just right there for yourself for planning. Because the thing is, once you, as colleagues and collaboratively say, oh, I'll do one, and I'll do one on this, and I'll do one on this, then you're sharing, and you've got this planning guide. So it's not so much always for you, since it's such a simple process. It's for the dividing the work and conquering together. Author, title, page, if any. Sometimes it's not always about posting on the board. It's like, hey, we know this. We know this book so well. We've read it so many times, elementary. Let's go back to one of our favorite pages. A first grade example was the bucket filling book, and they were repeating and practicing the different ways we end sentences. So the page they went to was, I filled a bucket today. Can I fill a bucket? Yes, I can, or something like that. And it had 3 sentences in a row, and it happened to have period, question, exclamation point, right in a row on a page. And then the invitation was, what did we notice this author did? Look, they chose punctuation based on the sentence and the oh my goodness, we could do this too. Go ahead and do this. I think it was, filling a bucket is important. Can I fill a bucket? Yes, I can. Well, what about you? What else is important? Or what's important to us in this classroom? Think about that. Write that down. And maybe for first grade, you wouldn't have them write down the first thing. But what could you write right now? And someone might say, being a good friend is important. Can I be a good friend? Yes, I can. Just that practice, that fluidity. Now, the last thing to do, and all the little steps are down here on the form if that's helpful. The last thing to do is to make sure that they do look back at some previous writing. So they did just make some writing, but it was a little bit out of context, So go back to, and it might be a current unit and that generating work in the notebook from 3rd grade on up, or it might be something they're doing that week. But go back and see a place where you could try this. Just find a place where you could try this, and then maybe rewrite a portion of that right now. And so you just give like a minute or two for kids to go in and say, oh, that application immediately into their own writing is key, and we found that was really important for the carryover. Jen, what would you like to add to this, and what else about resources do we need to know?
Question. Kind of wondering. So, some of the standards are really packed with like different types of phrases, clauses, different situations. I'm thinking of 8th grade gerunds. So gerunds, we need to learn about gerunds, but they're not as important as other things we learn about. So what I'm wondering is, some of those things that don't have as much impact in writing, could those be addressed through sentence composing and not require a mini lesson? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So that's just, I never thought about it that way before. Could it be used for the less important concepts? And then also, also reviewing the most important concepts. So I don't know. Yeah.
Any questions or thoughts on just that process from Jeff? So the book, Everyday Editing, is the book. He's written a few, but this is the book where this goes in more depth, correct? Again, the Kilgallen resources are just a place to find those mentor sentences, so you don't have to do all that work. Jen's going to pull up a website And then I will just show you where in our Google Drive folder you'll be able to find the mini lesson, not mini lesson template, this is not a mini lesson, where you'd be able to find that planning template in case you do have colleagues that you'd want to say, hey, let's find a few sentences. You do this, I'll do this.
You can try it. I just Googled Right Guy Jeff Anderson and it comes up. And then you can explore his site, but if you go to the For Teachers site, I think it's on the right-hand column. There's a blog, and here it is. Okay, resources for teachers. Links I recommend, Mentor Sentence blog. So it's not actually his blog, but it's one that teachers mainly, write in. They share sentences. So if we want to look at, let's look at parts of a sentence. So if we want to look at sentences with adverbs. And then it's kind of like the Kilgallen work. You basically have the sentences here. So it's a source for sentences. That's what it is. And you can add some of your own also, but it's kind of fun to explore that. And a lot of them are from texts that you can see yourself using in a classroom. And then you can actually also be using it in a classroom. They don't do it by grade levels. Or just look at, so you might want to go to best sentence ever and see if there anything that's appropriate for first grade or fourth grade.
Excellent. So I just want to read from The Power of Grammar, because Aaron Worth and Vinton talk about this too, and it's just kind of a little motivational way to close our session today. And it's so almost prophetic, but she had a section in here that says, like, close reading of the artful sentence. When we hear those two words together, close reading, you're thinking, all right, Common Core, right? And that's just such a focus right now. But that's what we're doing with students, aren't we? In this quick, short little practice of sentence apprenticeship, close reading of the artful sentence. There is an art to reading sentences closely, naming what happens in the sentence and what the sentence accomplishes. It is the art of lingering. It is the art of expectation. And then it reads further, reading a sentence closely with students means we engage with it. We investigate how it works and what it accomplishes. And then there's an example of a student named Amanda studying an author, William Stegg's picture book, Brave Irene, and what she writes. And this is our goal. It names, there's a significant shift in Amanda's writing as she imitates Stegg. She moves from short sentences of limited impact to longer, evocative, more poetic writing. She's no longer writing just to say what happened, but to convey the full scope of her grief and her deep love for Rabbit to an audience. And this is the way that we help students do this work. Short, easy, repetitive ways so that this actually becomes what they do as writers. So thank you. Thank you so much for the time. Yeah.